down presently, Mr. Neville. I hope you can put up with me until then.
I don't think that would be too hard.
I know how it will be. You'll bury yourself down there and not speak to a living soul. Your nerves will be worse than ever from moping. I shall just give you letters of introduction to all the people I know there. Some of them, as far as I can remember, are
The dining room. I'll get you a glass of tea or something of the like.
My doctor said I'm not allowed to have tea. It's supposed to calm my nerves. I'd love a glass of water, though. If you could spare me one, please.
Why, of course. How silly of me. Do you know many of the people around here, Mr. Francis?
Hardly a soul. My sister gave me letters of introduction about everybody, though.
So, you know practically nothing about my aunt.
Only her name and address.
Her great tragedy happened just 3 years ago. That would be since your sister's time.
Tragedy?
You may wonder why we keep that window wide open on an October afternoon.
It is kind of warm for this time of year, but does that window have to do with anything with the tragedy?
Out through that window, 3 years ago to a day.
Her husband and her 2 young brothers went off for their day's shooting. They never came back. In crossing the moor to their favorite snipe shooting ground, they were all 3 engulfed in a treacherous piece of bog. It had been dreadful wet that summer, you know, and places that were safe in other years gave way suddenly without warning. Their bodies were never recovered. That was the dreadful part of it.
Poor Aunt. Always thinks they'll come back someday. They and that little yellow lab that was lost with them, and just walk through that door, just like they used to. That's why the window is kept open on still, quiet evenings like this. Poor dear Aunt, she always tells me the story of how they went out, her husband with his white waterproof coat over his arm, and her brother Ronnie singing "Birdie, Why Do You Bound," as he always did to tease her, because she said it got on his nerves. You know, sometimes on still, quiet evenings like this, I almost get a feeling that they'll all walk back in through that window.
Oh, hello, Mr. Nuttall. Come and sit down at the table. I hope Vera's been amusing you.
She's been very, interesting.
I hope you don't mind the open window. My husband and brothers will be home directly. They always come in this way. They've been out for snipe in the marshes, and they'll make a fine mess of my poor carpets. You men folk, just like you.
Haha, I suppose it is.
It's so kind of them to bring back those snipe for me to prepare, but I always fret about them while they're gone. The marshes are so dreadful this time of year, and they always come back so muddy.
Yes, I would think that would be quite inconvenient, I suppose.
It is, I assure you. You should go out shooting with them sometime.
Well, that seems quite lovely, but all my doctors have ordered me complete rest and absence of mental excitement. Also, avoidance of anything in the nature of violent physical activity. I'm sorry, but I just have a pass, I suppose.
It's quite unfortunate. You would have seen some good sport. There aren't the amount of birds that there used to be in the past, but my husband always raves how he enjoys it.
How delightful, but my doctors can't simply agree on the matter of my diet.
They can't? Oh, here they are at last, and just in time for tea. And they look as if they're muddy to the eyes.
Here we are, my dear. Fairly much for most of it's dry. Who was it that just bolted out the door?
A most extraordinary man, Mr. Nuttall, who could only talk about his illnesses. And he dashed off without a word of goodbye or apology. One would have think he might have seen a ghost.
I expect it was the lad. He told me he had a horror of dogs. He was once hunted into a cemetery somewhere on the banks of the Ganges by a pack of pariah dogs, and had to spend the night in a newly dug grave with the creature snarling and grinning and foaming just above him. Enough to make anyone lose their nerve.
Dang
I
it.
forgot.
How do I stop it?
Give me a second.
I don't think that'd be too
How
hard.
do I stop it?
It is kind of...
Alright.
It is, I assure you. You should go out shooting with them sometime.
Well, that seems quite lovely. But all my doctors have ordered me complete rest, in absence of anything... Who talks first?
You.
Oh.